Welcome to PrepsNet Coach Speak with Fultondale High School head football coach Jake Hogan, powered by the Fultondale Wildcats shop. Visit FultondaleWildcats.com for all of your Wildcats gear. Here's your host, Aubrey Johnson.
Welcome in, Coach.
Thanks for being here, Aubrey.
All right, so 2 wins in 2 weeks. You got to be happy with that.
Definitely.
It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Haleyville. You beat them 26-21. Tell us about that night.
That was a tough fought game. I thought that Haleyville came in, and from everything that we'd seen on film, I felt like they played their best game against us. I think their coaching staff probably did a good job of kind of explaining to them that their backs were against the wall, just much like ours were. And they did a couple of things that were a little out of characteristic for them. They pressured us a little bit more than we were anticipating. And, we were able to, late in the third quarter, we were able to kind of get in our heavy package and had a big drive right there. And then into the game, defense sealed it out for us. So we were glad to come out of there with a win.
Right, good deal. So then last Friday, you traveled to Cordova. You had another nice little win. It was tighter, 22-18. What happened in that one?
Well, in the Cordova game, I felt like Cordova did what they do. They run that wing tee offense. And I've always said, the majority of my career has been at larger schools, and I played in the wing tee when I was in high school, and I've always felt like it was an equalizer type offense, and they, kind of the message going into the week or into the game was, telling the defense this isn't a stats line kind of week. This is going to be one of those where you've got to do your job. You can't get tired of doing your job. You can't fall asleep. And, the game was close. They ended up scoring late and making it a little bit closer than what it really was, but I felt like we controlled the game. They had an opportunity to punch one in right before the half, and our defense held and kept them out of the end zone. They had 3 pass attempts right there into the end zone at the end of the game, and we were able to fight off all of them. I was very, very proud of our defense.
That's awesome.
Yeah, our defense played really well. And we kind of told them this is going to be, if you wake up sore and hurting and everything, chances are we won the game. It was old school.
Exactly.
Old school football, but those guys do a really good job. And anytime that you go to Cordova, it's just a hard-nosed blue-collar community, so you're going to be in for a physical ball game when you go up there.
Okay, so let's go back to Haleyville. Tell us who played well in that game.
Well, they ended up taking the lead on us in the third quarter, and we kind of got in our heavy package and gave it to let Ross Christie and George Lewis just kind of take over. We kept the ball on the ground, ended up going 9 plays and then scoring, and then closed the game out in it. And really, it's our short yardage package, but it was they didn't really have an answer for it, And so I thought Ross and George both played really well, and I felt like our offensive line was starting to gel a little bit. Like I said, they came out and pressured us a little bit early. And got home a couple of times, but we were able to, second play of the game, we were able to complete a touchdown pass to Travis Jackson. Caleb Parker was able to get on the board early, and then after that we sputtered a little bit, and like I said, they took the lead, and then we just kind of put it in our playmakers' hands, and they were able to respond. So it was a good night.
Fantastic. What about Cordova? Who played well on that one?
Well, I got to give the credit to the defense. Like I said, it wasn't a night where stats were going to be gaudy. But they, we had guys, and then they came in early on. I think they scored on the first drive, on the first possession. Long play to the fullback, and they came in and they made adjustments right there. And like I said, the stand right there at the half, I think, was the most pivotal moment in the game for us.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I was really proud of them. I felt like they all played really hard, and they more than that, they played really disciplined. So I was very pleased. I thought offensively we did well too. I think we had we had 1 3 and out coming right out from the half. We ended up having a drop on first down, kind of put us behind schedule a little bit. But for the most part, man, like I just felt like I was really proud of all of them. I felt like the whole team played well.
Sure, good deal. So then, as far as any notable injuries over the last 2 weeks?
No, we've actually been very fortunate. We've stayed pretty healthy. Actually, have gotten a couple of kids back, so we're healthy going into this week, so that's good.
Okay. All right. So you've got Curry coming up on Thursday night. They have a similar win-loss record than you do, so pretty similar looks from each team. They've won about 3 games also. What do you expect to see from the Yellow Jackets?
Well, they're pesky. They really are. They play a very aggressive defense. Offensively, they're going to try to ground and pound you,
Right.
and they one thing about them is like they beat Dora last week for the first time since like 2011, I think.
Right.
So it's a big win for them, and that's what we've told our kids. Like they're going to come in and they're going to try to take it from you.
Right.
We've got an opportunity to make the playoffs with one of the youngest teams I've ever coached. I'm very pleased with the growth that we've shown, but it's not going to be easy,
Right.
So, and it is again one of those Walker County schools similar to Cordova. When you play them, you know that you're going to be in for a fight. So
Right.
it's going to be a physical ball game, and I think at the end of the day, just like every week, it's going to be whoever executes the game plan and makes the fewest mistakes and protects the football is going to be critical for it. So.
Okay. All right. So then the next Thursday night on the 30th, you play your last game against Gadsden City.
Correct.
Coach, they're 6A, they're big, they're 5-3 on the season, and I have a feeling they're not going to be handing out any Halloween treats come that night. What do you expect to see from them?
Well, everything that they've always been, they're going to have great athletes. They're going to execute their scheme very well.
Right.
It's a game that we look forward to, and it was one that I scheduled early on because I want to put our kids on as big of a stage as possible. And I also like playing that tough opponent going into the playoffs.
Right.
I don't like taking a lull right there.
Right.
So, it's going to be obviously a challenge. We've got to make a long trip up there, and it's on a Thursday, which also presents its own challenges. And I just look forward to the opportunity to be able to put our kids on a larger stage and let them showcase their talents, against a very high quality opponent.
Okay, very good. So, Coach, your staff has endured this season. It's been a difficult season. Despite the last 2 wins, it's been a little difficult.
Sure.
Let's give them a little kudos. Tell us about the staff and how they've handled this season.
They've handled it very well. I think ultimately the credit goes to the kids for kind of staying the course, but they don't do that by themselves,
Right.
And I think that the coaching staff, for us to have gone through the transition, the problems that have been around here,
Right.
and then for our guys to start the season the way they did with some tough losses. It would have been really easy for the players to kind of pack it up, but it'd been really easy for the coaches to pack it up too.
Sure.
And what I'm most proud of those guys for is they stayed on message. They continued to do all of the things that I expect out of them. There wasn't nobody poked their lip out and tried to give up or anything. We knew that the key to it was to be playing our best at the end. And
Sure.
I think all of them dedicated themselves to that, and I'm very pleased with the job that all of them have done.
Nice. All right. So, Coach, that's our show. We appreciate your time. And as always, we appreciate yours. Join us again in a couple of weeks for the last edition of Coach Speak.